keeping you informed 24/7. News Talk KVNU Logan, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
KVNU News Time is 5:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Logan Dental Associates. The Grand County Sheriff's Office has closed its investigation into the murders of two women in the La Salle Mountains last year. 24-year-old Kylan Schulte, 38-year-old Crystal Turner were found dead in August 2021. Earlier this year, a suspect, Adam Pinkisiewicz, was named. As investigators closed the case, they released new details about what happened at a news conference Thursday afternoon. Unified Police Detective Carrie Rigby, who assisted with the investigation, told reporters that evidence taken from Pinkisiewicz's phone showed extreme signs of racism and problems with anger. Notes on his phone also discussed raping and killing other people and how it was a constant thought in his mind. Pinkisiewicz is no longer alive. Investigators said that he killed himself in September 2021 in Iowa, but not before divulging critical details about the murders to a man he had been dating. Pinkisiewicz reportedly told the man he killed the two women because he worked with one of them and she was bossy. During the news conference, Rigby laid out a timeline of the days surrounding the murders of Schulte and Turner, who had met in the Moab area in 2019. Rigby said the couple lived a van life and did not have a permanent residence in the Moab area. On August 12th, Rigby said the couple reported a creepy camper who stayed near them and put his stuff very uncomfortably close to them. The next day, the couple said the camper had left the campground but came back later to unpack groceries. They described him as a man with a beard and no shirt. Investigators confirm Pinkisiewicz had bought groceries in Moab before driving back to the campsite the afternoon of August 13th. On August 14th, Rigby said the couple was shot at 11:48 a.m. Investigators showed surveillance video in which those shots were heard. About an hour later, surveillance video captured Pinkisiewicz's Toyota Yaris driving down the mountain. After the women didn't show up to work in the following days, their co-workers reported them missing to Moab police, and their families pleaded for more information. A West Valley City man is behind bars after he reportedly shot and killed his roommate after waking up with a bad feeling. Officers with West Valley City Police responded to reports of a homicide after 4 a.m. Thursday. Upon arrival, police were directed toward the basement of the home where they found the victim deceased in one of the bedrooms. According to a probable cause statement, 21-year-old Miguel Bonilla woke up around 3 a.m. and after hearing a loud bang, had a bad feeling. He allegedly stepped outside to handle the feeling before returning to the residence, opening the victim's door and firing 2 rounds. Bonilla told officers his roommate was lying in bed with the lights off when he fired the shots. Bonilla said he fled the residence and was unaware if he struck the victim. The charging document stated Bonilla made the shooting look like a home invasion and walked around the block to make it appear other individuals entered the residence. Bonilla was booked into the Salt Lake County Jail and faces 1 count of murder and 1 count of obstruction of justice. KVNU weather, winter storm warning still in effect for the mountain locations until 5 a.m. Monday for heavy snow, total snow accumulation of 1 to 3 feet, with locally up to 4 feet in the western Uintas and Provo Canyon, locally up to 5 feet in the upper Cottonwoods by Monday morning. For the Cache Valley, though, all advisories and warnings have been dropped. We do have rain, possibly mixed with some snow this evening. Rain likely after midnight, low around 30, and then rain in the forecast for Saturday around 40. Saturday night, New Year's Eve, rain, chance of rain 80%, and then snow likely on Sunday, New Year's Day, with accumulations possible. Today's high was 37. You can always get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
So many times at the end of the year we hear, wow, had I known, I would have come in sooner. Anyway, can we get it done before the end of the year? Hi, it's Dr. Brandon Preby from Logan Dental Associates and Cherry Creek Dental in Richmond. We want to help you utilize your benefits and get the best care possible without pain or discomfort and make it affordable. Often insurance or health savings is part of that plan. Please call today for your appointment with Dr. Taylor, Larson, Harris, or Preby. Let's get you the care you need before the end of the year. Cherry Creek Dental in Richmond or Logan Dental Associates in Logan.
Local news and the best talk. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
A lifetime of awesome memories starts with the Yamaha lineup of youth ATVs. Find the perfect Yamaha ATV for the young rider in your life at Cash Yamaha. Start with the sporty Yamaha YFZ50, designed for riders 6 and up with easy start and parental controls. Then graduate to the Yamaha Raptor 90 with legendary Raptor Sport ATV styling and more for riders 10 and up. And for a taste of the rugged look of a utility ATV, check out the Yamaha Grizzly 90. Start a lifelong passion today at Cash Yamaha or YamahaMotorsports.com. See the Yamaha lineup today at Cash Yamaha at the Light in Hyde Park. YFZ50 is recommended for use only by riders 6 years and older and always with adult supervision. Raptor and Grizzly 90 are recommended for use only by riders 10 years and older and always with adult supervision. ATVs can be hazardous to operate. Yamaha recommends an approved training course. For safety and training information, see your dealer or call 1-800-887-2887.
Hi, this is Jordan Mathis, Health Officer for the Bear River Health Department. In reflecting on this past year, I would like to extend my gratitude to you all. Thank you for your collective efforts in making our community such a wonderful place to live. We are fortunate to call Northern Utah home. We have clean water, safe communities, healthy children, great health care, and so much more. From everyone here at the Bear River Health Department, we wish you a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season.
It's been a year filled with incredible relationships. For the team at Smart Construction, building your custom home is the reason they get up each day and do what they love to do. Thank you from the Smart Construction team. Whether it's a gorgeous lakefront home in Bear Lake or a luxury mountain retreat, we invite you to see their work online, smartconstructionbearlake.com, or follow them on Instagram at Smart Builder. Smart Construction would love to build your dream. Make the smart choice. Choose Smart Construction.
Welcome back to the For the People movie show, hour 2 of the movie show, recapping 2022, and we'll take some time to take a look ahead at 2023. Get you excited with Andy Morgan here in the studio. And Andy, I feel bad. In hour 1's portion of the movie show, I cut you off when you were about to say something. You said, I've got some news for you that will excite you. And then I cut you off inadvertently, and the curiosity's been killing me.
It wasn't, So, I watched The White Lotus.
Oh, okay.
I binged it.
Both seasons?
I'm only 2 episodes into the second season.
I struggled at first with the second season. I'm I don't know if I like any of these people.
But I did watch the second, and I was like, oh.
The first season?
I didn't know how to feel, Jason, to be honest with you.
I like the twist because they show you the final scene of the season as the opening scene of the season. That's not a spoiler, by the way.
It is.
Like you see the ending, but you don't know what you're seeing, really. And then when it's all slowly explained, you're like, oh, that's creepy.
You know what I like? It reminded me of The White Lotus. Reminded me of the movie that I saw. We talked about, I think, maybe a month and a half ago, called The Menu. I think it was pre-Thanksgiving.
Where the chef.
Yeah, and the way I would describe it is it's eerily similar in some regards where, the menu starts out with all these people getting on a boat. Then they're going to this exclusive island to have this exclusive meal with this, this top chef, and it's just it's an otherworldly experience. But what's interesting is these people get on this boat, you start to kind of make just how we are as people, right? You don't know anything about them, but just based on their appearance and the way they're talking, you have some initial judgments of these people.
Yeah.
And then as it goes along, you're sort of assigning them into areas, hierarchies of I don't like you.
Yeah.
You're okay. And that's kind of how I felt with the White Lotus is this, and it's almost the same funny thing is they're all in that boat, to this, exclusive resort. And what I found as the show went on is there was people that at the beginning I thought I liked that by the end of the show I did not like. And then there was people at the beginning of the show that I didn't like that I liked at the end of the show. The guy, though...
One thing I have to tell you, they try to do the same thing in season 2.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
It doesn't work as well.
No, it doesn't.
Because everyone but Jennifer Coolidge... Who is the only person... Oh, you'll love her in season 2. She really comes into her character.
She's two things. You know who I like is...
She becomes a main character in season 2, and it is worth it.
I like Haley Richardson, her assistant.
Yeah. She's funny.
I'm supposed to eat.
Yeah. And some of the running gags, like they're on a honeymoon trip kind of, but he goes for a 5-mile run every morning for 3 hours. And
well, did you ever?
One of my favorite things about 2 things from season 1 now this doesn't show up in season 2. Season 2 is a whole different beast. And for those who haven't watched it, this isn't a running series. Like the characters from season 1 don't come back in season 2,
except for one.
Jennifer Coolidge, the millionaire.
Well, actually, that's not true. And Uncle Rico.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Uncle Rico. But
isn't that crazy?
But, yeah, that's kind of funny.
He's also Laszlo in Real Genius.
There's a twist with him. Anyway, what I liked about season 1, that dinner table scene that perfectly encapsulates conversations about privilege.
You mentioned that, and I had forgot it.
It's amazing because they do this whole thing where it's this conversation that this Hawaiian girl is just observing. She's not even a part of it. But her facial expressions as they're talking.
And I don't know, is she...
And then the last 1 minute.
She's not...
I love that last 1 minute at the airport.
I don't think... Oh, yeah.
When the kid just...
I don't think she's...
Bolts.
I don't know. I can't remember if she was Hawaiian. She wasn't obviously from Hawaii. She is a person of color. I don't know where she's from.
Her family was Hawaiian, but she was born and raised in the U.S., and so her trying to claim her Hawaiian heritage is kind of a tongue-in-cheek part of...
But that's kind of what's funny is you have this sympathy for her, but then
at the same time, she's just a rich girl from America.
She is, and her intentions of trying to help the native Hawaiians ends up really backfiring poorly.
I felt bad for that guy. I hoped that we would get an update on him in season 2.
My favorite character, I don't care what anybody says, my favorite character was the head of the resort. Yeah. The Australian guy that looked like Dabney Coleman.
He makes the show.
What was it? Armand. Armand was my favorite character.
As he slowly starts to lose it.
Anybody that's been in customer service knows.
And his job. The dinner scene where he's got to hit every table and smile and ask them how they're doing.
Yeah.
But he's got all this serious stuff on his mind because of what has been going. Anyway, that's so funny. But
and how he's just got to hold down his gag reflex when he's talking to the one punk who has his mom come on his honeymoon. But you know what's honestly there's a lot of horrific things that sort of happen, I guess I would say in some regards.
Yeah.
But the most horrific is Alexandria Daddario showing up at the airport at the end and being like, I can be happy, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I had hoped she had hightailed it.
She was so I didn't care for her.
What did the one lady do with the big envelope of cash that she threw into the desk? I thought that was going to be a thing that she was going to lose that money at some point.
They just kind of brushed that over, and it's sort of
never in a million years too. HBO has this thing where they're like, hey, you know how we've shocked you in other series, and you're like, yes, I know.
Yeah.
They're like, well, prepare to see someone defile a suitcase.
Never seen before. There were 2 scenes in season 1 that were like,
anybody here? Anyone home?
Yeah. And no one was expecting that when that office door is opened. And so all I remember thinking was, well, that's a first.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing.
There's none of that. Well, there's something close to that in season 2, but season 2 is, it's almost like they're playing with these themes, like you mentioned, of people who are really flawed but likable, and then in season 2 they flip it, and they've got people who are less flawed but horrible people.
But there's also real
trying to do good. Everybody's trying to do good,
and there's
That's
also
what I liked
real
about it.
human, like for instance, the relationship. There's in season 2, there's the dad and the son and the grandfather, and they're all there to go to Sicily, right? Because that's where the grandfather, his heritage is.
And season 2, I don't know if this is because I'd seen season 1 or it's actually there in season 2, but there was a lot more foreboding in season 2. There are a lot of scenes where you're like, what is about to happen here?
I think it's also the setting too. Italy is just like there's way more people there.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I am not a Theo James fan at all.
Yeah, that one struggles for me, and then
and I do think Aubrey Plaza pretty much plays the same character in every show. I know she doesn't like that, and she'd probably smack me in the face. But
it's true though.
Other than Mike and Dave, she's the same in Mike and Dave Needs Wedding Dates too. But anyway, I wanted to let you know I'd seen that, and I also wanted to make a recommendation.
Okay,
because I think I'd watched a little bit of the first episode of White Lotus, and then I said, no, Jason likes this. I'm gonna binge this, and I did, and I was like, good pick, sir.
It's just really unique. It's not for everybody. We should say that.
It's not. Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it there. But I will say another one.
What if you took Knives Out and made it really weird, like uncomfortably weird at times?
Yeah,
that's kind of what this is.
It's true.
Yeah.
I will say my son Sam, who is really into cooking, and he has some aspirations of wanting to be a chef and things like that.
That's very cool.
He recommended a show to me on FX, or sorry. I think it's an FX-backed show, but it's on Hulu.
Is it the Cookie Challenge with Reed Drummond?
No, it's called The Bear.
Oh, okay.
8 episodes. They're about all of them are about 30 minutes long, except for the season finale.
I've read about this.
Really, really, really well done. I mean, I just cannot. It's honestly probably one of the favorite things I've seen all year.
Really?
Yeah, it's just well done, well acted, well written. Just everything. There's a lot of things where you'll be like, oh, I like the setting, I like the score, I like, but this has got all the pieces. Like if this was a movie, this would be a Best Picture contender.
That's it.
So
it's interesting. You remind me. We should save this for the other side of the break so we can really get into this. But I was thinking about this again. I knew that we were going to get into best and worst of the year. Things we liked.
I've got
and
so many worst ones. I
cannot
wait to roast. We're going to roast some movies here coming up.
The terminal list. What happened? But I realized that there are all these different categories of like.
Sure.
Because there are things that I wouldn't recommend to everybody that I had a lot of fun watching, but then if asked, well, was it good? I'd say, nah. Like The Boys. The latest season, it was a lot of fun. Was it good?
I don't know. We were talking about disturbing things in television, and Sam and I were talking about this because I was telling him about some of the things in White Lotus, and Sam said, "I don't know, Dad." He said, "I don't think nothing still takes the cake of episode 1 of season 3 of The Boys."
Yeah, honestly,
still have never seen anything.
That's
so
a good
disturbing.
Point. Actually, White Lotus does not talk.
But you know what's funny about The Boys too is there's that moment in episode 1, and then 4 episodes later, you're like, "Oh man, way to top yourself, fellas."
Yeah. That was you thought episode 1 was big.
That's funny.
Well, so as we go to the break, here's my little, and you can think about this. This is my biggest surprise myself moment of 2022, and it didn't happen until about episode 4 or 5 or maybe even 6. So you'll be shocked by this. I still have not watched beyond episode 2 of the new Game of Thrones series. Oh. I could not get into it.
I could see why.
I'm going to finish it, but I just couldn't. But
there's a lot of people didn't love it.
By the time I didn't care for episodes 1, 2, and 3, but then I finally watched episode 4 of Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power.
Okay, and that's when it kind of turned for me.
And I think that was the most fun I had this year. But we'll talk about it. Recapping 2022, Andy and I both have our list of favorites and least favorites, and you're welcome to join us as well. We'll be back with more right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Fireworks are an American tradition. Safety and common sense are so important as you celebrate the holiday with fireworks. Always use fireworks 30 feet or more from any structure or any vertical obstruction. Aerial fireworks can travel up to 150 feet. Anybody under 12 should never handle sparklers. By law, you must be 16 or older to handle aerial fireworks. Always place fireworks on a hard, level surface in a clean and open area. This safety message brought to you by Merrill Family Holiday Sales at 855 South Main at the Y intersection in Logan and the Cache Valley Media Group.
Alpine Home Medical has been around for over 25 years. Can you believe that? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent. What keeps us coming to work every day? We're passionate about caring for you. From home and bathroom safety to transportation, mobility, recovery, oxygen, sleep, and more, come into any of our 10 locations today and let us take care of you.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Ingers me home, daddy who can I say do? Ye bear spear, horn bear spear, bork, bork, bork.
Recapping 2022 with Andy Morgan here in the studio for this extended For the People movie show. We'll get now to our list of favorites and least favorites. We talked about the box office. We talked a little bit about... got distracted there, my fault, with streaming shows.
No. I actually wanted to talk about... I had been waiting since last show to tell you about that.
Honestly, I won't take up too much time with this, but that was a thought I had as I went through movies. And this is not a diss in any of the movies I saw, because I saw some good stuff. I loved The Fabelmans. That was a fun experience to
that was a good one.
But not one I'd see again. I just had more fun. The streaming services knocked it out of the park this year. And I think I had more fun watching things on Disney Plus and Netflix and Amazon Prime and HBO by the way, the top streaming show, period, on HBO Max for this entire year was Dune.
Interesting.
Followed by Black Adam.
Dune.
Yeah.
Black Adam. Oh, there's so many wounded DC people.
By the way, Dune 2 out next fall, right? 2023?
Yeah, so you're going to be excited because you know what we're going to do next week, right?
Ooh.
Is next week we're talking about the end of 2022 today. And by the way, I'll post these things later. But what we're gonna end up talking about,
your lists. Everybody loves a good list.
Everyone does. Next week, what we're gonna talk about is what are we looking forward to, right?
Yeah.
Because I know there's some things
Dune
that
2.
people know about. Yeah, right.
I'm excited to see that. The first half was good.
Yeah, anyway. So you get what I'm saying. Like we're gonna talk more about that. It's gonna be good.
I'm excited to see what Marvel does. Yeah. So anyway, speaking of Marvel, really quick, Wakanda Forever. Did they propel things?
Did they propel things
as they planned to? I mean, I really like the movie, but I've been wondering that, heading into the next year and some of the plans Marvel's announced.
I had a long conversation.
Is the universe still alive? It's kind of on life support right now, it seems like.
That's a great question, Jason. I don't know. I made this comment to somebody yesterday, looking at the Phase 5 that starts with Ant-Man in February.
Yeah, which looks good.
All
the movies are good and look good independently.
I don't know if I was offered a job, 3 jobs. If somebody came to me from Marvel Studios or Disney and DC, I would take the DC job.
Just because of what?
And I know that sounds funny.
Has yet to happen.
Yes, and because of the reset. I think Marvel's in a tight spot right now because I think the universe right now feels a little scattered and lost.
Yeah,
because you still have these properties, you still have these characters that are tenuously tied to the Avengers, the previous iteration of the Avengers.
Yeah,
and I don't think anyone kind of knows where this is going. So,
and some of it not their fault, like the death of.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do there? But I would. Here's what I will say:
Like there couldn't have been a
No.
second Black Panther movie that could have really propelled the whole universe along was possible, not with his death.
Well, and here's what I'll say is
in real life,
Ant-Man, when that comes out in February, I think is when it comes out, I believe that movie is going to set the tone for everything else, because if they can't coherently tell us where, because here's the thing, again, go back, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, all those initial kind of, Captain America, all those that kind of came in that 2008 to like 2011 time frame that set up Avengers in 2012. We'd seen those little cameos. We knew Thanos. That was the thing. Thanos is coming.
When was his first cameo? Was it? It was at the end of the credits of which movie?
I think it was
the first Avengers.
No, I think it was.
I guess it doesn't matter, but it was early, right? It was really early,
and that was what set it up. Is 2012 was like, hey, here's a little tiny taste of what Thanos has and what he wants,
and he doesn't really show up until the final two movies of that phase one.
No, and that's but he's referenced, he's talked. We see little holograms and stuff, and that's the thing. So right now.
They don't really have that.
Right now, there's no. I know people talk about having a big bad that's looming.
Yeah,
but that there has to be some sort of threat lingering in the background. And right now,
and some iconic goods.
Yeah, and right now you don't have that. I think that's the word that I would use to describe Marvel universe right now. Is it's scattered, and maybe that's how it's supposed to feel. But I don't think it's boding well.
I still think they're missing some opportunities, but maybe not key character. Like I still think Bucky could hold his own trilogy, but that can't move the whole thing along, and neither can the Falcon, neither can.
And I looked at the
Spider-Man maybe.
Well, I looked at the planned movies for the Phase 5, and there's some weird gaps that I just can't. I don't know if it's just because we don't know, but yeah, it's.
Do you think we get a third Doctor Strange movie after that phase plant?
I hope not. I think it's honestly, if I was Marvel at this point, I think what I would focus on doing is I would pick a few characters from the past trilogy to keep, right? And then I would start introducing new people.
Start new.
Yeah,
I think that's what DC plans to do with Zack Snyder. Or no, James Gunn at the helm now.
So I honestly worry more about Marvel than I do. Kevin Feige's proven this, but when you have a plan, when you get to the end of that plan, the question is what do you do?
Yeah.
Star Wars, I think, they've been smart. They've been like, okay, look, we had some hits, we had some misses. Yeah. Let's just pause for a minute, right, and let's see what happens. So,
and I think you saw with the Obi-Wan. Both this year, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi, the standalone limited series, because there will not be a sequel to that one, and then Andor, which honestly, Andor for me is one of the best. I liked Andor more than The Force Awakens, not more than The Last Jedi, but more than I thought about this, and it's just. We should pause there and go to the news because then we'll have plenty of time for your.
Yeah, I want to start.
List.
I want to talk about. I want to drop. I don't usually like to focus on the bad, but I just think there's some movies that'll be fun to kind of roast a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And then I want to pull out instead of saying like the best movies, like like other critics, like these are the best of the year. I want to pull out some surprises, like some things that like maybe flew under the radar a little bit.
That you really liked.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But we will. There's some ones that we can really kind of take through the ringer.
There's some plenty that deserve it from this year. All right, the best and worst of 2022, Andy's list. Right after this look at the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News brought to you by U&I Furniture. Intermountain Logan Regional Hospital is included in the 2022 U.S. News and World Report list of the best hospitals for maternity care. Fewer than 300 hospitals across the nation scored high enough to make the list. Brandon McBride, administrator at Logan Regional, credited the work of physicians, midwives, nurses, and technicians in the hospital's Women's Center who provide the best maternity care possible. Intermountain's maternity caregivers also help educate new moms about how to care for themselves and their baby after childbirth and help connect them with community resources for women and children. The Utah Highway Patrol on Thursday released its highway stats for the days before and after Christmas this year, with 4 days of information on how many people were pulled over for speeding, how many were cited for not wearing seatbelts, and how many people died on Utah's roadways. The latter statistic, arguably the most important, marked improvement from 2021's data. It was also the only improvement. All other statistics increased, from the number of people pulled over by troopers to the number of crashes. In 2021, UHP reported 3 people died on Utah's highways between December 23rd and 26th. This year, that number dropped to 0. The news of a fatality-free Christmas is welcome news, though it's somewhat at odds with the rest of the patrol's statistics. According to UHP, troopers made contact with 1,512 drivers in 2021 for various reasons. That number increased to 1,863 in 2022. 39 of those were for driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, 18 more than last year. The number of people who were not wearing a seatbelt increased from 48 in 2021 to 64 in 2022, and more drivers were stopped for speeding in 2022 as well, though the overall number was not too substantial. It's been a big national story today as well. Authorities in Pennsylvania have arrested a suspect in the killings of 4 slain Idaho students, authorities said today. Arrest paperwork filed in Monroe County Court says 28-year-old Brian Koberger was being held for extradition to Idaho on a warrant for first-degree murder. ABC's Matt Rivers has more.
Just behind me in a gated community. It's a private community, so we're not actually allowed in with the parents of Brian Koberger. That's apparently where this joint group, this SWAT team, consisting of members of the FBI, the Idaho and Pennsylvania State Police, as well as the Moscow, Idaho local police, were able to make entry to the house where Koberger was staying, and they were able to arrest the 28-year-old. He does have roots in this area. He graduated in 2022, in June, actually, from DeSales University. That's about an hour away from here. And we know, even though he's at Washington State University, he's got roots here. So we're learning more about who this person is, but still a much clearer picture needed about who Brian Koberger is.
The 4 students were all friends and members of the University of Idaho's Greek system. They were stabbed to death at a rental home near campus sometime in the early morning hours of November 13th. Monroe County, Pennsylvania, is in the Pocono Mountains. KVNU weather, we do have a winter storm warning remaining in effect until 5 o'clock Monday morning for the mountains of northern Utah, but all advisories and warnings have been dropped for the valley locations for now. For the Cache Valley tonight, rain or rain mixed with snow, rain likely after midnight, low around 30, and then rain in the forecast for Saturday, high around 40. Saturday night, New Year's Eve, rain in the forecast, and then snow on Sunday, New Year's Day. Accumulations possible, high temperature in the upper 30s. It was 37 today. Weather brought to you by Northern Steel Buildings. Work with their Cache Valley team to build a stronger, more durable, long-lasting structure for your needs. Visit northernsteelbuilding.com or call 435-677-7300. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
You'll love the holiday specials and big selection when you shop at UNI Furniture. Got guests coming? How about their best-selling mattress, a Therapeutic Serene featuring a zone coil system, comfy stretch knit top, only $399 for the queen size. For Christmas, a TV? How about 50 different console choices from small to large, with or without fireplaces? And over 200 chairs on display, including the best in recliners. They offer free layaway and prices you'll love. A local standard when it comes to furniture. There's always a better buy at UNI Furniture, UNI Downtown Logan.
Hi, this is Chris Wilson of Wilson Motor Company. It's been a great year, and I appreciate all of our customers and employees who have made it possible. If you're looking for a new or used vehicle, we are in the final days of our holiday sales event. We have clearance prices on all remaining vehicles. Check out our inventory online at wilsonmotor.com or drop in for a test drive at one of our 2 great locations at 328 North Main or next to the Olive Garden.
Wilson Motor Company, we make car buying easy.
As the year ends, we reflect on the past year and think about all we are grateful for and look forward to the excitement of the new year. Richard Dorighetti Advisors would like to remind you that now is the time to finish year-end tax planning and prepare for income tax filings. Richard Dorighetti Advisors offers the most complete and thorough tax services for individuals and businesses. Richard and his staff would like to wish everyone a happy and prosperous new year.
Cubex Fitness is offering their best deal of the year. For a limited time, become a Cubex member and get your first 2 months for free. Then only pay $15 per month with no contract. Receive the Cubex Nutritional Guide ebook for free. Work out at Cubex with their virtual trainers in complete privacy without any concerns or distractions or comparisons. Make 2023 your year. Achieve your goals at Cubex Fitness in Logan. $75 cancellation fee at time of cancellation.
Hulk. Smash.
Welcome back to the For the People movie show. Our final show of 2022. We'll be back next Tuesday with regularly scheduled programming. Kick things off with the first 2023 episode of the For the People Book Club with our good friend Craig Peterson here in the studio for our first show of the year. But right now, recapping 2022 in movies, as we did yesterday for theater with Charlie Schill, Andy Morgan here with his list of all lists, which we'll get to now. This is the best, the worst, the things to laugh at, things to avoid, things to not miss if you did in theaters. And everything in between. And Andy, I know you don't like to do like hierarchy lists. You don't like to do the best movie and then the fifth best movie. You like to do just a list of 5 good movies that you shouldn't miss.
Well, I typically don't like to. I don't like to focus on the ones that were not good in it. But I know people like to, you know what I mean? And there were some real stinkers this year. Here's the thing. You know me. I go to the movies, and I don't care if my fellow critics hate it or love it. You know, I sit down in the seat, and I'm a person just like everyone else. And if I like the show, I like it. And if I don't, I don't, right? And so there's movies like that, you know, probably were critically acclaimed that I'm like, no thank you. And I think a lot of, you know, my fellow critics are like that. But here's an example. But there are ones that you know are just garbage, right? One that I just the first one on my list for kind of like and this is going to be one of those ones that I'll probably see it on like TNT, you know, or TBS in like 2-3 years, and I'll be like, you know, why not?
Yeah.
Kind of like 2012 and like What's the Day After Tomorrow. And again, weirdly, the same director, Roland Emmerich, it was Moonfall, right? Which was, you know, basically like, what would happen if the moon was a spaceship?
Yeah.
What if the moon was like a Death Star?
Which really, to translate that, what would happen if Roland Emmerich phoned in one of his own movies? Which he already does.
And the problem is that, like, if you can get a big name cast together, it's one thing. But, like, when John Bradley from Game of Thrones that played, you know, Sam is one of the highlights.
The only one that wasn't busy.
And by the way, that is a no deference to John Bradley because he is great.
Yeah,
he's actually the highlight of the show to me personally.
It's just that they literally couldn't get.
But Halle Berry
bigger.
and Patrick, Wilson. And Patrick Wilson, I feel like he's at that point of his career. He's like, "There's a movie to be made. Count me in.
I'm in it." and he owns that to his credit.
Yeah,
he knows that's where he's at.
He's in that
career-wise.
Liam Neeson stage where it's like, sign me up. What is it? I'll be in it.
Look, I'm not winning an Oscar here.
Another one that I hated So I gave Moonfall a D, right? That's pretty low. But a movie that I gave an F, and you know me, I do not give out Fs very often.
Yeah.
Was a movie with Ben Affleck, who I actually really like as a filmmaker and a writer, and even as an actor. I thought he was great as Batman. But he was in a movie with Ana de Armas, who also is another tremendous actress. But in this movie, Deep Water, which I don't know what they were trying to do, was just absolute garbage. I mean, there's movies where I sit there and I'm like, I literally hate every single second. Like I just want to scream in the middle of you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hated every single minute of that. And that was kind of a throwback. Like I think what they were trying to do is like, hey guys, remember in the 80s when we had like Fatal Attraction and movies like that where you were like, oh, this is an erotic thriller. That's what they tried to do with
original,
this. And I was like, I hate every part of this. Like I was like, I hope everyone gets murdered. Anyway. Terrible, I know.
That's
another
that
movie.
Does make it tough though if nobody's likable.
It does. Another movie that I just could not stand, and here's the thing again. Let me go back. It's one thing if like you think, okay, this is going to be good, right? And as you're watching it, and it just doesn't quite stick the landing, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a half a point on that one, Scott. It's my gymnast commentary. This is, but then there's ones where you start watching it and you go, and you just try to think, where did this start from? Like, were you guys in a room and you were like, this sounds like a dumb idea. Should we do it?
Those are the ones that always stand out to me. The ones that are so bad. Because if you know how movies and even TV shows and streaming series and all that are made, you know, nobody just comes in, makes it, and then they're just like, all right, hit publish.
Well,
like these run past editing committees, and hundreds of people see this before it's ever seen by a
signed up for it.
Audience, and no one ever says, you know what, this is bad. We should change directions.
Who decided to make Firestarter remake? And they were like, let's do it.
I made it 10 minutes into that, by the way.
I watched every part of it. When she lit the cat on fire near the dumpster, I think it was a cat.
Yeah,
and it looked like something out of Saturday Night Live, like this hairy smoking cat. I was like, nah.
It looked like a comedy scene. And then,
it did.
Like you're waiting for the punchline, and then he just tries to turn it into a teachable moment, and they walk off.
That's exactly.
That's where I stopped. I'm like, page. I'm done.
It's got Zac Efron. I'm like, I hated every single second of that movie.
Yeah.
Now,
honey, why don't we set cats on fire?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm going to go watch something else now, Zach.
I'm going to throw out a few other movies that I really just could not stand. One that I think, again, made a lot of money, but I just was like, nope, I'm done, was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I didn't give it an F. I gave it a C, and I gave a lot of other things Cs throughout the year. But those things deserved a C. Doctor Strange should have been better.
Yeah, it had all of the
should have been better.
The story was great,
and it was not good.
Yeah, it was. It took me 7 days to finish that. That's never happened. I have like rewatching a Marvel movie.
Nope.
I've hit pause and come back to it a day or two later. This one, I actually got bored.
Yeah, it was not
in
good.
what were supposed to be exciting action scenes, I got bored.
Yeah, it was bad.
Went and watched something else.
Yeah, it was bad. Another movie that I did not love. There was two more kind of to close out the year. One, I didn't like Halloween Ends. That was one that was kind of at the bottom end of the spectrum for me.
But now you did like the previous.
I liked the
installment
first
in this latest.
Yeah, they just dragged that. Some stories don't need to be wrapped up. Let's just leave it. You know what I mean? The second one I thought was really bad. Like it wasn't as bad as this third one.
Yeah,
the third one was just, I don't know. I didn't love it. And then the other movie. This one's strange because I gave it a bad grade, and I had a lot of angry things to say about it last week when we talked about it, but there were some technical marvels in it, is Babylon. I just could not. I could not.
You said last week you struggled to see the point. It wasn't horrible,
and
but you struggled to see why it was made.
No, it's like if you had a great chili recipe, Jason, and you were like, "Hey, does anybody want chili?" And people are like, "Chili sounds good. It sounds good to me." And you were like, "Okay, does anybody want steak or beef chili?" And everyone was like, "Dealer's choice." And you were like, "Okay, what if I do steak and beef?" and 6 kind of beans, and I make it spicy, but I also put beer in it. Right? Like, and it was just like you just can't make up your mind. That's Babylon. It was just like, hey, guys, everything that you know about me as a filmmaker, I am going to, like, hey, Damien.
Yeah.
Damien Chazelle, the director, you know you can only bring 1 carry-on bag. Just FYI. Like, that's kind of what we're talking about.
He shows up looking like the opening scene of Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, you're like, no, man.
All the stuff tied on the top
like,
of the wagon.
Yeah. And there are some technical things in it that are okay, but like it just I was so irritated at that movie the whole time I was watching it.
Yeah. And one more?
No, that's it? Those are kind of the standout ones. You know, I mean, I do have other C's on here. You know, I gave. Oh, you know, here's another one I forgot. I don't think a lot of people have seen this because it's NC-17. It's called Blonde on Netflix. It has, again, Ana de Armas. I hated every second of that show, and I like artistic. Like, I'm okay like with, you know, weird, strange movies. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, I like to see experimental things, but wowza, like I just like this was just. It was just a big, messy glob of just. If it's speaking, I just don't even know where. I don't even know where to go with that. But
speaking of globs, as we'll take our last break and transition into the best list that you have here. But really quickly, you mentioned it already as one of your things that you really like this year. But this website I have up to refresh my memory on some of my favorites. Running random trailers from movies and TV shows and all that, and there was a trailer for The Bear, and I looked up just in time to see the toilet exploding scene. That's I'm intrigued now. I'll have to watch this. So we'll be back with Andy's best of 2023. Those are some to avoid that you've just heard there, and I would agree with him on every one. But what you shouldn't avoid if you missed it in theaters, the best of 2022, right after this.
Hi, this is Jordan Mathis, Health Officer for the Bear River Health Department. In reflecting on this past year, I would like to extend my gratitude to you all. Thank you for your collective efforts in making our community such a wonderful place to live. We are fortunate to call Northern Utah home. We have clean water, safe communities, healthy children, great health care, and so much more. From everyone here at the Bear River Health Department, we wish you a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
So many social engagements, so little time.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People, wrapping up this special extended edition of the For the People movie show to give us time to get to it all with Andy's best of list. You heard 5 to avoid before the break there. Now here's a handful that you shouldn't avoid. Again, in no particular order, right? Just ones that really stood out to you.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I had my top 5 for the awards we talked about those, but some of the other ones I'm not gonna give 5. I know we have just a little bit of time left here today, so I'm just gonna kind of go through movies that really stood out to me this year that I gave good grades to. The Batman was one back in March. It's long, but it was dark, but I thought it was a nice. I hope they keep going with that.
Yeah, I'd like to see what a sequel did.
Yeah, the only problem is how does that fit in the bigger picture that James Gunn maybe have? Yeah. But then does everything have to be a universe now? I don't know.
No,
that's a question. I really liked The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
Oh, that wheelbarrow scene was hilarious.
It was hilarious. Brad Pitt is really funny. A movie that I thought was surprisingly good this year, and I can't believe I'm going to say this Michael Bay movie called Ambulance.
Oh, I liked that too.
That was good.
Also dark, but
Yeah,
I like that.
I thought it was an interesting turn with Jake Gyllenhaal and some of the setup. Again, it's kind of corny in some spots, but I tell you what, for all of Michael Bay's flaws, the guy knows how to put an action movie together. I mean, he really does. If he could just, I hope this is
Tone
him
it down once in a while.
Yeah, I hope this is him pulling himself out of Transformer Town.
What he needs is a strong strong-armed editor. He needs an editor that's going to step in and
Michael,
say, I call it from here.
Right, yeah.
Maybe that last 40 minutes, that fight scene doesn't need to be 45 minutes long.
I'm excited for I had two thoughts that were conflicting right there. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage playing himself.
Also hilarious.
And Pedro Pascal was a great show.
Pascal is good. He's a good actor.
He is. Top Gun Maverick, obviously we've talked about how great that was. There's another one that kind of went under the radar. I think I nominated it for Best Original Screenplay. It was on Apple TV, I want to say back early in June. It was called Cha-Cha Real Smooth.
Yeah.
That was good.
I saw that at Sundance. It was
good.
Yeah. Different, but yeah.
Yeah. We obviously know how beloved Everything Everywhere All at Once is. It won 10 awards at our film critics meeting a couple weeks ago. I thought Elvis was great.
That, by the way, if I had to pick a best picture, Everything All at Once, Everything Everywhere All at Once. But again, back to different lists, not the most fun I had in a movie.
Yeah, and
but probably the best movie I saw.
Yeah, top to bottom. Another movie came out into June that I really enjoyed that kind of flew under the radar and didn't get a lot of love, I thought, was The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke.
It's because they advertised it as a horror movie and it wasn't. It's in the realm of, remember Prisoners with what's his face, Wolverine?
Yeah, Hugh Jackman.
It's a really, or Seven.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really dark crime thriller.
Yeah.
But they promoted it as a horror movie, so everybody's like, based on Stephen King's kid's book or short story or whatever. I'm not seeing that. It deserved to be. It deserves another release promoted as a thriller.
Yeah,
because it was good.
Yeah, it wasn't a horror movie. I mean, it had horror elements.
Yeah, there's
or maybe not horror elements, supernatural elements.
Yeah,
is probably the better word for it.
But it really is not. Despite the talking ghosts thing, it's not really a horror movie.
Yeah, I agree.
That was unique.
Nope was one that I absolutely loved. We've talked about that all summer. That was great. Another one on Hulu that kind of went under the radar was Prey. It's a Predator movie.
Which, yeah, that surprised me.
I thought that was just that kind of came out of nowhere for me. Probably the best. I mean, I know it's funny when you say it's the best Predator movie, but it's not just a great Predator movie. It's just a great movie. It's really well done.
I was shocked by that.
One that I think didn't get a lot of love from critics too was The Gray Man on Netflix with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. It's really great. It's honestly it's the Russo brothers that did the Avengers movies and Captain America: Winter Soldier. It's great.
It's in my queue.
I'd highly recommend it if you're just looking for a dumb, fun show that just kind of highlights those guys as action stars. It's great.
It's based on a really popular book series along the lines of Jack Reacher and all that.
Another one too. I think
came out at the same time as the what's the Brad Pitt Bullet Train?
Bullet Train. Yeah.
And I did see Bullet Train.
Bullet Train is great.
Yeah.
A few others. I'll just mention by name because I think we only have a couple minutes here. But
2 minutes.
Bodies was one.
I forgot about that.
Barbarian. I think Raymond and Ray on Apple TV. We talked about Spirited. That was the musical with Will Ferrell.
Yeah, still in theaters.
Yep. The Menu. Yeah, there's so many. There was like 900 some odd movies released this year. So
it was a big year in releases and big year in the box office.
Yeah, I would say if you say you can't find something that or nothing was good, you didn't look hard enough.
See more stuff.
Yeah,
there was a lot of good.
There's a lot of movies, and I think I'm going to stick with my prediction. I have two predictions heading into next year.
Okay.
And we'll tease this because next week we're going to talk about what we're most excited for, not only just from films, but also from streaming and like new things that are coming out, right, in 2023. But my two predictions are, one is it's going to be the biggest box office year ever.
Yeah.
From a gross dollar standpoint.
There's a lot of pent-up wallets out there.
And then I think my other prediction is that if Marvel doesn't stick the landing on Ant-Man,
they're done.
There's going to be some trouble.
I'd agree with that. I think they've got one more shot from the true fans before they give up. But so 30 seconds left here. Did you have a movie that just stands out to you as the most fun you had sitting down and watching?
If I was just talking about fun, it was probably Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick?
Yep.
It's a good movie. All right, there you have it. The best of 2022, preceded by the worst of 2022. And next week, Andy Wood back. We'll talk about what 2023 has in store, award season around the corner, and more. Next Friday at 5, the For the People movie show. Thank you for being with us this whole year. We'll be back on Tuesday to kick off 2023 with our first installment of the For the People book club and our friend Craig Peterson in the studio.